Bonçuklu Tarla, a site older than the famous Göbekli Tepe. Now, Bonçuklu Tarla in Turkish directly translates to beaded field. And this settlement has a history dating back over 12,000 years, predating Göbekli Tepe by 1,000 years. Now, in 2019, the discovery made at Bonçuklu Tarla, the beaded field in southeastern Turkey's Mardin, resembles Göbekli Tepe, but it could be in fact much older, as old as 1,000 years older. And this key finding could shed light on questions like how people in northern Mesopotamia and the upper Tigris began to settle down, how the transition from hunter-gatherer life to food production took place, or how the cultural and religious structures were shaped, according to the authors. But I think that this is the last gasps of a megalithic society warning us of a future of catastrophe. And here we see that excavation, very significant back in 2019. Now, the 12,000-year-old public building that was unearthed in southeastern Turkey, Mardin, is in fact part of this complex, the Bonçuklu Tarla's temple. And here we're going to leave you the paper that came out in May of 2021. Archaeologists had discovered the remains of a public building thought to be 12,000 years old at Bonçuklu Tarla in the Isu neighborhood of the Dareshit district of Mardin province in southeastern Turkey. Archaeological excavations by the Mardin Museum Directorate, which began in 2012, are still ongoing in the area, which has hosted over 25 civilizations throughout history, including the Sumerians, the Assyrians, the Romans, the Abbasids, the Seljuks, and the Ottomans. Now, since 2012, many finds from the Epi-Paleolithic period to the late pre-pottery Neolithic Phase B have been unearthed in the mound, which covers an area of approximately 2.5 hectares. Now, an important part of the building, which was built 3 times on top of itself and dates back to over 10,000 BC, has been unearthed in the last several years. There is a 15-person team at the excavation area at the Bonçuklu Tarla beaded field site in Mardin province, according to Associate Professor Elgul Koldas, who told the state-run Anadolu agency an entire building was unearthed. And these are large-sized structures that are not residential and have been used by many individuals or groups. Several special structures, which we call temples, were unearthed in the settlement, in addition to many houses and dwellings. This is mind-blowing. Now, Bonçuklu Tarla got its name from the beads found in more than 50,000 excavations. The majority of the jewelry, which is mostly in the form of bracelets and necklaces, are the oldest jewelry ever found on Earth. Imagine things like this being made 12,000 years ago. 6,000 or 7,000 years before what we're taught in school was the dawn of agriculture. Clearly, there are some missing pieces here. These are extremely advanced civilizations with extremely developed artistic senses. Just the notion of symmetry here in these bracelets and necklaces is beyond reproach. Now, the majority of the bracelets and necklaces that were found were discovered in graves and as grave gifts. In comparison to the period, the craftsmanship in the jewelry is quite eye-catching. Now, during the excavations carried out in the area in 2019, a special structure similar to Göbekli Tepe, but was older, was found, as well as amulets and other extremely unique and highly specialized tools that you're looking at here. These are 12,000 years old, for goodness sakes. And I can remember a few years ago when they were claiming that Göbekli Tepe was a skull cult. My goodness. All this is happening during the yellow area here in the graph, the Younger Dryas. It's happening from about 14,000 to 12,000 years ago during this tumultuous period when sea levels rose rapidly and then the earth froze again. There were comets, thousands of impactors in North America called the Carolina Bays. The evidence of the black mats and microspherules, nanodiamonds, and fractured quartz in the form of stishovite shows that during this period, the entire northern hemisphere lit on fire. Thousands of objects were impacting or plasma discharging above the surface. It must have seemed like Armageddon. And what do the cultures do? Well, they build the most incredible bas-relief, archaeoastronomical temples, one after another, for 1,000 years, and then they bury them on purpose. Göbekli Tepe Hill has less than 5% excavated. They estimate that there could be up to 2,200 circles like this buried in the hill. That would take thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions of people to accomplish. Let alone the amazing craftsmanship of these people that were on Earth during this cosmic catastrophe 12,000 years ago. Carving bas-reliefs in single-piece rocks that most humans today wouldn't know how to move a single inch, let alone carve. The jig is up. The information is trickling out. The excavations are revealing more. And we're sticking our foot to the fire that there is so much misinformation and disinformation that has been handed out over the centuries. No wonder they burned the library at Alexandria, so they could continue to control the narrative. Take a look at these pillars, for goodness sakes. Take a look at the bas-relief carvings at a distance, the specificity of their positioning. 12,000 years ago, during a cosmic catastrophe, there was a civilization rapidly making these temples, quote unquote, for an unknown reason. These were the people that were probably exiled from the Easter Island, Atlantis and the Azores, Pumapunku and other areas that had already been destroyed. And they came here to the safe place, the Fertile Crescent, to begin anew. And we have fairy tale after fairy tale. And we're told that agriculture began somewhere 5,000 years after this. Well, I beg of you to think logically. If civilizations during a cosmic catastrophe are able to accomplish such feats as Göbekli Tepe, making thousands of temple structures, which today would take anyone years, if not decades, to complete each single one, with dozens of skilled artisans, what else aren't we being told? These civilizations clearly had to exist for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years prior, with advanced knowledge of archaeoastronomy, artistry, look at this, masonry, and engineering. These are engineering marvels that we're witnessing. And no one is talking about them. This should be front page news every day for the rest of your life, but it's not. And that's a boom. In a time of reflection, why are we being lied to? Why does what the propaganda machine show us is war, it's your fault, you did it, when we know better? Yes, we did do it. 12,000 years ago, we knew how to be awesome and amazing, how to use our collective consciousness to warn the future. That is what they don't want us to know. Subscribe to the channel, share this video, and be safe. We love you. That's a boom to knowledge.